Hello, I'm Nora, and today I want to talk about 10 purchases slash things that I think are normalized, but they shouldn't. So let's get started. And the first of them is actually buying clothes every month. In my experience, when I was a teenager, I used to be friends with one girl, and now I understand we're completely different kind of people. But back then, I like to look at other people and see what they do, because I don't know what is the world, what is going on, what you're supposed to do, and you just, I'd say, repeat after other people, and maybe you pick up on what is okay and not. And only, I guess, when you were growing up and get some critical thinking, you decide on your own what is for you and what is not. And back then we were getting, I'd say, the college allowance of like 70 euros. And honestly, I think every single month we would go to a store and buy something like sweater, jeans, and I wouldn't say I did it because I wanted to, but I did it because just because that there is no reason for it. And now as I'm grown up, I realize that people actually don't need that many clothes, unless there are some maybe celebrities, performers, um, models, whatever you say there, but regular people, I don't think that they need that many clothes. And it's not saying that you don't need to buy clothes, but also be intentional when you're buying clothes and thinking of what you're gonna wear it with. Is it for really you buying clothes, or for imaginary you? Like literally, like I think yesterday I was in a store and I saw a skirt, a really beautiful kind of skirt. It was, also the colors that I think would suit me, but I like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna wear it. Because a lot of times in my life I was buying clothes for who I thought I want to be or supposed to be, but not who I really am, which is person who wears like minimal amount of clothes. And I also can understand people having lots of clothes when they go to work. We don't need to wear a specific kind of uniform, and you can wear your own clothes. Then I can understand, but still, like if you think about it, do you really wear all your clothes? Even I have really small amount of clothes. I may make a video about it. I don't even wear them all. I wear one, maybe two pair of jeans when one is dirty, and two, three t-shirts, and like this cardigan. That's it. And second thing in my list is buy a new phone every year or whenever the new model comes out. And honestly, I had two friends in my life at least, or I think I know more people who did it, but I was always curious why they did it like that. Like, why would you buy a new model? And I understand it when you're a teenager because you consider it cool, maybe rich if you can afford it, because we know that when new phones come out, they're really expensive. They are. And I think it's normalized, at least what I see, that people, they don't wait for their phone to break or something to go wrong. They're like, I just want it. And I actually asked my friend, why do you want to buy a new phone if you have your own? And she told me, I had it for like 2 or 3 years and I want a new one. So there is there is no conversation there, I think. For example, I bought my new phone on which I'm making this video, like I think 2 or 3 years ago, because I had this phone. It was the iPhone, Miley Cyrus, iPhone 7. And the thing is, because I used to make vlogs and videos, my back camera actually, it's not really stopped working, but it's kind of broke and I couldn't make any photos or videos. And because it was important for me, I needed to buy a new phone. But I didn't buy the newest phone back then. I bought the iPhone 13 mini for I think 700, which I think it's a lot, but as I am convenient with it, that's what I went for. And I think I'd never, even if I want to, I'd never would go for the newest model of the any kind of phone, to be honest, because they're the most expensive what they can be. If you wait a couple of years, maybe yeah, they're not as new anymore, but they're gonna be at least a couple of €100 cheaper. No, now as I think about it, 700 for a phone is crazy. So yeah, I think we should normalize using our phones till the last breath because they aren't cheap. So the third thing that I think should be normalized is having a car, especially if you live in a car when the public transport is affordable. And I'll stop you right there. I think it's necessary for example, parents to have a car for their kids. I wouldn't argue with that, but for example, me, I don't have any kids. I just have me, my husband, and that's it. And here where we live, it's a really affordable public transportation. It always goes on schedule. You can go wherever you want. And honestly, he will also have lots of other transport that you can actually rent, like scooters, and they're quite cheap. And also rent a car. Not like I think how usually people go rent a car, but you just do it through the app. It's really easy and fast. And whenever you need a car, it's still gonna be cheaper than actually owning a car. You know? I would say it's simply cheaper and I think even convenient to have to not have a car. Because I say it that I think it's normalized because almost all people, especially young people who I talk to, they're like, I want to buy a car. And I'm like, are you rich? Because I'm always assuming that people are rich when they talk about a car because it's at least a couple of €100 a month. You know, for the gas, parking, for, you know, tickets if you parked or did something wrong. Because, you know, I rent a car and one time I think I turned on the wrong turn and I received a fine of like €40. I was crying. I was really crying. And imagine receiving a couple of them a month. I wouldn't stop crying. And here, I believe, I'd say parking is not the easiest thing and not the cheapest thing. Because more and more people want to have car. So there are not being more of the parking spaces, you know? And I understand the idea about behind having a car, like it's your own, you don't need to be in a transit with smelly drunk people maybe. But for me, having a car is a luxury. It is not something that is normal. And we're moving towards the fourth one, buying new beauty products more than necessary. Because I think you've seen lots of TikToks, videos where actually not even the beauty bloggers, but all kind of bloggers, they do have the advertisement for all kind of cosmetics. And when you think about it, if I think I have so many cosmetics, I can't even imagine what other people can have it. And honestly, when you think about it, even like one lipstick to to use it till the end, I think you need months. And if a person has like with 20 of them, you're gonna have them forever. So yeah, and all these videos where I see people having, you know, these shelves with the cosmetics. The only thing I wonder is that they will never be able to use it till the end, and they have expiration dates. Even though somebody told me that they just put expiration dates for them just because they need to, but it can last forever. I don't know about that, but it doesn't sound right, you know? Doesn't sound right. And I think it's okay to have, you know, maybe a couple of each products, like a couple of blushes, of the pencils, of the lipstick. I don't know why my nose is so itchy. Couple of the like eyeshadows, unless of course you're a makeup artist, it's your job and you just have a lot of it. But as a regular person having bunch and bunch of makeup, I really don't get it. Why is it alright? The fifth one would be interesting in that list of the purchases, things that shouldn't be normalized, is actually buying things that you cannot afford. And I do not talk about a mortgage or maybe even like buying a car on the credits. I'm gonna talk about like small things like phones, you know, buying them in credits for like 2 years, electronics, some even furniture. I think nowadays if you go to any site to buy something, they will offer you to split the bill, you know. In some cases, I think it's at least here how you can buy something like in 3 months without overpaying because they think that you won't be maybe able to pay the sum in 3 months, and then you'll need to pay some interest. But you know, when people buy things uh, right here, right now, instead of waiting like a couple of months to save this amount, they would rather overpay in the long term than they would just wait a little bit. Because if you cannot buy it right here, right now, you cannot afford it. Unless you save for it, then you can. So maybe it also makes sense to go for some cheaper option than going for something really expensive. But as I said, I think the credit culture made us think that we can afford everything in this world. The sixth one, which is quite similar to the fifth one, is eating out more than you can afford. Like if you're going out somewhere, you know, like good places. Yeah, it's me. The whole video just scratching my nose. So here I'm going to like, you know, not even like fancy place, but like good kind of place. I think for the breakfast you'd pay around 15 euros. For dinner around 40. I don't know about the lunch. They usually have good deals for the lunch. And I think what we see with the social media, that people eating out a lot, when it might not be true, because you know, people show on social media what they want to show on social media. And I think also in the workplaces, people, they order food a lot rather than take something with them. But that also might be convenient, you know, because there are students, there are other people who cannot afford cook themselves every day. But still, I don't think it should be something normal to go every Friday, every Saturday, eating out with your friends, especially dinner. I think it would be quite expensive when you think about it. Yeah, because actually one time I wanted to spend my birthday on a restaurant, and when I counted what I approximately want to order, it was like 70 or 80 euros. That's a lot of money. That's like groceries for like week and a half, 2 weeks. Yeah, I just couldn't do it. Yeah, because I thought like, I mean, that's what everybody does, go into restaurants, celebrate something. Like celebrate something, I don't understand, but just because going to the restaurant, that's rich. That's rich. Seventh point here will be things that shouldn't be normalized to be bought is the trendy stuff, like Labubu, Stanley Cup. I wouldn't say Birkenback because it's too expensive to buy anyway. So if something is trendy, it's for sure gonna cost more than it could if it wasn't so trendy. Obvious though. As recently I saw the video, I don't know how legitimate is that, but you know, like prices on the Stanley Cup, they dropped since the, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago, when you know, when there was like a huge promotion of it, of being unkillable. I think back then they were quite expensive, but now after a couple of years, they're not as expensive anymore. And also buying the trendy stuff, you need to think if you will be able to use this item after it's not trendy anymore. Like, you know, will you still like Labubu when nobody wears it? Would you still use a Stanley Cup when nobody uses it? So that is, I think, is really important to understand, because, you know, when everybody was buying Labubu, I actually bought, I'll try to put picture here. this kind of a trolley that usually old people have, or young people in Europe, to put groceries in them. And I actually called her La Boo Boo because it also cost 40 euros. Also, I think when I was a teenager, I think it's still kind of a trend to have an iPhone. And I remember the story about a guy who was working actually the whole summer just to buy an iPhone because it was trendy. Imagine that, working the whole summer just to buy it. I mean, at least he had a goal and he accomplished that, but still, hello? So yeah, the thing about it, trendy things that they come and go, but what you bought is gonna stay. And you need to think when you're buying stuff, would you be using it? Would you be glad for this thing to stay in your life? Or you're just gonna throw it away like any other trendy stuff that came before that? All right, going on to the next one, big weddings. Growing up, and I still kind of think that when you get married, you should have a wedding. And even if it's a wedding with not so many people, it still should be kind of a big one, an expensive one. But you know what? I didn't even have a wedding because it is expensive. And I even thought that there's maybe like something wrong, not like with me, but you know how I did it, which is not normal to not celebrate wedding. And in our society, you will see so many, even people who don't have money, they have weddings somehow, and I don't know how, because the clothes, you know, the food, the place, it's like thousands and thousands and thousands. And honestly, people who do that, I don't want to think that they go in debt for that, but I think they do. And that is not okay. Even though it's like special day in your life, and maybe you'll remember it for the rest of your life. Maybe a couple of times you remember this day for the rest of your life, right? But still, to get in debt for that and pay for it years later, that's kind of a burden, isn't it? So yeah, I think it's not as exciting just signing papers and go to the cafe with your friends or a small amount of family to just celebrate it just to celebrate it, because a lot of people also expect from you have a really big gathering and big celebration. And when I think about it, it sounds exciting to have a big wedding, but it is really expensive. The ninth thing in this list that I think shouldn't be normalized is always buying new things when you need to buy something. Talking about the clothes, for example, we have second hands, and honestly, nowadays second hands, they have even better clothes than some of the stores. Here we have an app for that, but there are also like marketplaces where you can buy already, used, I don't know, electronics or something else. As I think my friend, he recently got the like the stove, the stove where to cook, much cheaper than if he would bought it in a magazine. If he would bought it in the shop. It's like about, do you really need like a brand new thing? Maybe with the phones, maybe with the shoes. You might have, but I kind of like the culture that nowadays people go and buy things in second hands. Because when I was a teenager, it was shameful to buy things from there. People would consider you don't have money, but now people think that you do have money when you're buying in second hands. And here I bought a lot of things secondhand, would you say? Some clothes. Actually, I bought this cardigan secondhand as well. I think it cost like 40 or 50 original price, but I bought it for 20 because you can see it's like actually good quality, and it was barely, how would you say, wearable? Like person who own it barely wear it. Yeah. And maybe it's not the best to buy electronics because you never know what kind of condition they would be. But all the other things, well, why not? Like furniture. I cannot show you right now, but I actually found one piece of furniture recently on a dumpster, and it had really good quality. And now I was thinking like these people actually could resell it, but they didn't. So I just took it home. It was for free. And finally, the last thing, that was a long video, the last thing here that I think shouldn't be normalized is traveling multiple times a year. Because I think when you go to the Instagram, so many people, they have those highlights, their photos, mostly only from trips. And you might assume they go to travel every, I don't know, every 2-3 months. And honestly, in 1 year, I think 2022, I traveled 6 times a year. Was it good? Was it comfortable? Hell no. Because I traveled cheap. I was going places just because they had cheap prices. I was staying in the hostels in, I would say, terrible conditions with sketchy kind of people. I don't know how I survived. Now, as I get older, I do prioritize my comfort more, and maybe you will go someplace only like once, twice a year, big trip, but you will go place where you want with a comfortable living. Because I think it's normalized to, you know, travel just to travel. But even like the small trip can cost like a couple of €100. Even like neighborhood country, you need to buy tickets. Like even there, like can be what 30, 40 per person. Then you still need to rent a place. You're still gonna buy food, and it's still not gonna be that cheap. So in that point, I mean traveling just for the sake of traveling. Yeah, it shouldn't be like that normal because everybody travels and I should travel too. So yeah, I think maybe sometimes it's even just to save the vacation days, save more money for the place where you really want to go instead of going places just to go places. Because people like to collect countries, all the countries that they've been, and they have those videos. I've been to every country in the world, and you're like, am I worse than this person? Not going to every country in the world. But honestly, I wouldn't like to go to every country in the world in the first place. Alright, so there were 10 of the purchases that I think shouldn't be normalized because in my mind they are kind of normalized in our society, at least where I think I live. So let me know what you think is normalized, but it shouldn't be, especially in a way of people buying things, because it was really hard for me to come out with a 10 points. I got like 6 or 7 easy, but then I needed to think about it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you some other time. Bye.